Thank you very much, Angelka. This is the second morning session on history, philosophy, and teaching in astronomy. And the first speaker is Mirjana Povic. The title is Development of Astronomy and Space Science in Africa. Mirjana, would you please start?
Thank you very much, Professor. Thank you very much, Angelka, as well. Let me share my screen. Okay, can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, good morning, everybody from Ethiopia. Before I start, I would like to give my thanks once again to organizers for making this meeting possible, and especially to Angelka and Jelena, who invited me to give a talk. It's really a pleasure to see all of you, and I'm sorry that that I'm not in Serbia, that we can really have this meeting in presence. And I really appreciate this session on Saturday, where beside research in astronomy, we can speak about other aspects of astronomy that are equally important, such as education and human capacity building in general. So currently I'm working in Ethiopia for the past 4 years at the Ethiopian Space Science and Technology Institute. And I'm also associate researcher at the Institute of Astrophysics of Andalusia. And Angelka and Yellen asked me to a bit speak about the current status of astronomy and space science in Africa. So I will try to briefly give you a general picture how the situation is, and you will see that really a lot of work has been done over the past years. So I like to start the lecture with this slide because it's really one of the most common questions that I was getting over the past now more than 10 years since I've been involved in the development of astronomy and science in different African countries. And even from our colleagues that are astronomers, very often there is a question why African governments should invest in astronomy and space science, taking into account so many challenges that the countries are facing. And I think in order to answer this question, we really should maybe rethink, have a deeper rethinking on what really international cooperation is, what really means fighting the poverty on the long term, what means the amazing and huge inequality that we have currently in the world, and how dealing with it has been handled over the past decades. I think here I raised some of those fields that I think are really fundamental if we want to go toward the long-term fighting against the poverty. And I would especially raise education, science, and technology to be fundamental fields in that aspect. If we really want to improve the poverty on the long term, then we also need the long-term planning and also long-term financial support. And regarding this, I would add that in my perspective, I think local and African initiatives are really fundamental. There are amazing efforts that our African colleagues are doing in order to develop not only astronomy or space science, but science in general. And the countries are putting amazing efforts in terms of the educational development as well. And I think from outside, such as myself or anybody else, we can simply support these initiatives and then help as much as needed and as much as wanted from our colleagues. In terms of astronomy and space science, I think it's been really shown in different ways that we can contribute to the development of our society. And here I listed only some of those fields and some examples how we can do that. Starting with the fact that astronomy is really an important and very powerful tool to promote education in schools. We had a great lecture this morning from Biljana, which I really appreciated. Also, it's a very powerful tool to promote science within our young generations, and especially taking into account that astronomy is a very multidisciplinary science. I here listed also different sustainable development goals and how through different aspects of astronomy and space science we can contribute on a shorter or longer term to some of them. We also have great examples that with astronomy, space science, we can contribute to social and economical growth of the countries. And we can take South Africa as an example, where the South African government selected these two fields as being some of the priority ones for the South African development. And we can really see how much South Africa improved over the past decades. And we now have some of the major projects that are present in field not only of astronomy, but space science in general, that have been led by South Africa. We also know that in astronomy, taking into account the questions that we are dealing with, we are constantly on the border of our knowledge, which is really bringing amazing technological developments and innovation. And also taking into account the scope of the size of the project that we are dealing with, and also important international collaborations that are involved in long-term projects in astronomy through different missions. I think we also have a very good science that is an example of how we can, through science, promote peace and diplomacy. And most often we can hear actually astronomy being used for peace and diplomacy. And SKA is one of great examples in that aspects, that Africa is one of the is playing one of the major roles in SKA development, where we have really many partners and members, and huge collaboration for the next 5 decades, basically. And we should not forget that also our daily life nowadays depends on the satellite data, and that basically in future it will be even more. And basically the space-based data have been used in all aspects of our society, including the access to the water, improving the agriculture productivity, fighting the climate change, and so on. So if all this is true, and if we know all this because of the previous examples where many of the countries benefited through astronomy and space science, then we can ask the question, if that's a fact, then why we can also not use astronomy and space science for the development in Africa, especially taking into account the power, the strength that Africa has, and the potential for the astronomy development. Here is the light pollution map, where you can see that still in Africa we have dark skies as one of the natural resources. That will definitely change, hopefully in future, that many more people will have the access to the electricity. In Ethiopia currently we have about 70% of the population that doesn't have the access to the electricity. But we can also work on taking into account that we still have dark skies there. We can also work on conserving this area, and we have already examples like in South Africa working on that. And if we have examples such as Chile, South Africa, or Spain, where the countries benefited a lot in terms of their economical growth through making their countries being one of the most important astronomical sites, then also why some of the African countries would not be able to do the same, and then once again benefit from that. And this is becoming a bit also the continental initiative, like how through astronomy, space science, we can benefit the continent. African Union in 2015 came up with the development agenda, where the second, how to achieve the sustainable development goals. And the second pillar is actually investment in science, technology, innovation. And the African Union recognized space and then geospatial technologies as being the fundamental for really reaching the SDGs. And thanks to that, the African Space Agency has been established recently. And then also now we have the first African Space Strategy, where again, space science and astronomy have been highlighted in order to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. This is the map that we came to in 2018 when we published in Nature Astronomy the current status of astronomy space science in Africa. And you can see that actually many of the African countries are really putting efforts to improve their infrastructure in astronomy. We are planning to update this scenario soon, and we are working on the Astronomy in Africa survey. This is in space science, where you can see that, again, many of the countries are starting with the space agencies, some of them such as Egypt, Nigeria, Algeria, or South Africa have their space agencies and satellite programs established already for some time. And now I will go briefly through the current status in different parts of astronomy in terms of the institutional infrastructure development. So definitely radio astronomy is becoming one of the main areas in Africa through the SKA development and then African VLBI network. And as possibly many of you know, there are 9 African countries that are partners of SKA. Where the dishes will be established, the radio dishes. They all signed in 2017 the Memorandum of Understanding to collaborate together on the development of radio astronomy. Ghana was the first one to establish, to convert one of its telecommunication satellites into the first radio astronomy observatory under SKA out of South Africa. And in 2025, the second phase of the SKA will start, when we are planning, where we are expecting that many of the new dishes will be established. Nigeria is also making progress toward the radio astronomy, especially in terms of the human capacity building. Mauritius has from some time ago one small radio telescope that is working in collaboration with India. Namibia is now building the very first millimeter wave radio telescope that will be located in Africa, which will really improve a lot the resolution of the Event Horizon project that we all now know about. The South African Radio Astronomy Observatory was established also recently as a merge between SK South Africa and Harprau. And HIRAX is a new project that is run by the University of KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa in order to study the nitrogen, the neutral hydrogen. And there are also plans in the coming years to put about 1,000 6-meter dishes. And we also, since 2 years ago, have now the MIRCAT, the first phase of MIRCAT finished, finalized with 64 dishes. And thanks to that, we can now get some of the most detailed radio images coming from Africa. So I'm sure that all of you seeing this picture coming from the center of our Milky Way. Or, for example, we can now study different properties of galaxies in radio with much larger resolution. And here we have the example of the giant elliptical galaxy in optical, and thanks to MIRCAT, now we can observe these amazing lobes with a lot of details, once again, thanks to MIRCAT. And as I said, with the data coming from the African continent. In optical, also a lot of progress has been done, and there are even more efforts to do much more in future. So Morocco is really running successfully its small observatory with several small telescopes. They are doing really great observations in terms of the studies of extrasolar planets. In Egypt, Algeria, the site testing is going on with idea to put new observatories in future. In Egypt, the telescope of 6 or 6.5 meters that my colleagues are currently working on it. And then in Algeria, in collaboration with European Virgo, again, the site testing is going on with the idea to put the small optical observatory and work in the field of gravitational waves. And in Ethiopia, since 2014, we also have 2 small observatories with 2 telescopes, twin telescopes of 1 meter. We had a lot of challenges to really put these telescopes and observatory to be operational, and hopefully we will be able to really soon start with observations. In Burkina Faso, also a small telescope of 1 meter has been moved from Chile And our colleagues over the past 10 years were really struggled a lot to build the observatory. Currently, I think it's a bit stopped due to the security issues and political difficulties, unfortunately. And in Kenya, also there is, in collaboration with UK, the site testing is going on with the idea also to establish a small optical observatory. For the South Africa, you know that we have one of the best astronomical sites with many optical observatories there, including SALT, 11-meter telescope, and then recently Middle East was also established to be synchronized with the radio observations with MIRCAT. And in gamma rays, we also have the Hess Observatory with 5 telescopes, Cherenkov telescopes. That is one, again, of the best beside MAGIC, I would say, the best Cherenkov telescopes that we currently have. And this is done in collaboration with Germany. Also, remarkable progress has been done over the past years on the human capacity development, with many new master PhD programs established in different countries. Through the OED, there is a constant support really to many projects that have been funded in terms of the human capacity building. And then through the NASP in South Africa and AVN, DARA, ISP, again, many of the students got a chance to really do their master PhD either in different countries and then come back to Africa, or in Africa in general. We now also have the African Astronomical Society re-established since last year, and we are really working hard. We have 3 committees: the Science Committee, Outreach, and then the African Network of Women in Astronomy, that we are just starting with, and I'm really happy for that. So hopefully you will hear soon more about the African Network of Women in Astronomy. We are planning to share soon more information. This is the summary of some of the initiatives that I will not have time to go through them, but if you want to hear about any, you can just get in touch with me. And the last, let's say 10 minutes, I would like to focus more on the work that we are doing in Ethiopia, in collaboration also with East Africa, and then really with African Astronomical Society a lot, and OED. So in Ethiopia, Ethiopian government established Ethiopian Space Science and Technology Institute 4 years ago, and that's when I actually joined. I was collaborating with Ethiopia a bit earlier as well. And then I got the invitation to come and help with the development of astronomy and of the institute. And the motto of the institute is that we explore the universe for the benefit of our people. And our colleagues and our people in Ethiopia really have this big vision that through astronomy, space science, and technology in general, we can improve some of the main challenges that Ethiopia is facing. Such as through the satellite data, improving the access to the water, agriculture productivity, fighting the climate change, improving the access to the electricity, and so on. Here you can see some of the departments that we are having, including the astronomy astrophysics department. And I will now go through some of the main activities that we are running under the astronomy department. And again, I will connect each of them with some of the sustainable development goals and how on the longer term we can really contribute. One of the first activities that is really taking a lot of our efforts is the postgraduate program that we are running. So now, for the very first time in Ethiopia, we are training the very first master PhD students in astronomy. And I have to say that all of our students are actually already lecturers at some of the Ethiopian public universities. And once they finish their studies, they will go back to their university. So it means that through their master PhD, we can directly contribute to improving the level of education in Ethiopia, taking into account that currently we have, in the past 5 years, there have been more than 10 universities, new universities established in Ethiopia. However, the majority of the lecturers are just undergrad students who finished their studies and started working. which means that still the level of education, especially at the new universities, is very low. And this is one of the ways how through the time we can really improve that by training, as I said, the current lecturers. So it's a long process, but I think it's really the long term, the one with the long-term effects in terms of the improvement of the level of the education. Then human capacity building in general is one of the big parts of our activities. The majority of our staff members are, again, very young people who just finished their university and without having really any experience in astronomy or space science. So going through all different trainings and formation of these people is really one of the big tasks. And I think in that aspect, on the longer term, we can really contribute in general to bringing the qualified sector in the country, and then in general to the social and economical growth. Then research, institutional development, again, is taking a lot of our time. We currently have 3 research groups established at the department. So in extragalactic astronomy that I'm running, in stellar astronomy that my 2 of my colleagues, Solomon Belay and Sedlu Humne, are running, and then the culture astronomy as well. Ethiopia has an amazing heritage in culture astronomy. It's one of the really very, very ancient countries, and with a lot of very old manuscripts that many of the monasteries, churches have, where you can read about history of the science, the very initials of the science. So we have the small research group in culture astronomy. Then over the past years, take into account that when we started, we really started from zero with everything, with all the institutional development, human capacity building, infrastructure. So it was a lot, there was a lot of work to be done by establishing the departments, all the structure and so on. And a lot has been done also on working on different proposals for getting funds, organization of the meetings, conferences, and so on. And here I put some of the list of the things that through these different activities, we managed to, some of the outputs, like the very first publications that we managed to get in astronomy, contribute to the knowledge generation, the science development, the visibility that we gave to ESSTI, to Ethiopia, to astronomy and science in Africa in general, the human capacity building, the strengthening of the international collaborations that is extremely important for not only the present, but all the possibilities that in future can be open to through that. And here I just marked some of the SDGs that on the longer term, we can really contribute to at least these 6 sustainable development goals. Regarding the meetings, this is the summary of some of the meetings that we organized over the past 4 years. And I will give an example of the IU symposium that has been organized last year. This was the first symposium to be organized in Ethiopia, only the 3rd one to be organized in Africa over the last 100 years of the IAU. And we really, with this symposium, managed not only to contribute to astronomy development and to give the visibility that about the astronomy in Ethiopia and Africa, but also to contribute to the broader society through different trainings that have been organized for the teachers after the symposium, for the early young researchers before, for the general public and children through different outreach activities that we had, the public talks, and so on. So it was really, really an amazing event that I think contributed really a lot in different aspects that we are working on. Then the technological development in terms of putting, as I said, an Toto observatory to be established was also one of the major tasks, and still it is. And Ethiopia is currently also going through the site testing on the north of the country. As you can see here on this map, it's a really mountaineering country. It's actually the most mountaineering country in all Africa. And we have many tops, peaks above 3,000 meters with very dry climate. And Ethiopia really has a dream to become one of the astronomical sites using the natural resources that it has, so very dark skies, and then the favorable climate and the geography as well. Ethiopia, as I said, has plans to become one of the astronomical sites in the future, and why not to attract other partners and countries who will put their infrastructure, and in that way that we can really contribute to the infrastructure development in the country and region, and then to the technological development as well. And I will be I will be finalizing. The policy framework was also one of important aspects in the past few years. So we worked on the very first space
Three
policy.
minutes, please.
Just a moment, please. Organizers can grant more time to Mira because it is really nice and important talk. So Mira, you're welcome to finish when you like.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Angelika. So the policy framework, as I said, was one of important parts. So we worked on the very first space policy and strategy in Ethiopia, and currently we are working on 30 years plan on how to develop astronomy and space science. And I think this is really important because of the political engagement that this is involving, and I think in that way we can really contribute to different sustainable development goals in the future. We don't forget that really teachers are a fundamental part of our society, and a lot of efforts have been done for organizing teachers trainings with my colleagues, especially with Rosa, through the network of astronomy school education. And we organized several workshops, not only in Ethiopia, but also in Kenya, in Uganda, in Tanzania, in Zambia, in basically all East African region. And then Rosa is also working now strongly to bring astronomy to the north and west part of Africa as well. And I mean, again, it's really important for improving the level of education, and then for promoting the STEM fields in general, independently what the children will choose later on. And again, a lot of work has been done basically constantly in collaboration with the Ethiopian Space Science Society, that is a civic society, to go through the schools, bringing schools and children to the institute and to Entoto. And it's amazing the motivation that you can see within the young people, the children, the general public in general, and how much for Ethiopia means with so many challenges that the country is facing, having the examples that are opposite, being able also to work on the space science, work on the astronomy, having the Entoto, having the first satellite that has been launched last year, and working in Ethiopia was actually really an amazing lesson for me in so many aspects. Finally, I would also like to mention some of the efforts that we are putting in terms of working with girls and women in science in Africa in general. We have, well, in world in general, you know that we have below 30% of women that are researchers out of the whole number of scientists that we have. And when you come to the African countries, many of the countries are having such a low level as 5%. In Ethiopia, we are about 10% of all researchers that are women. And when you go to the fundamental sciences, it's even less. So we started with my colleagues from CWIST. We started with the STEM for Girls in Ethiopia initiative after my Nature Research Award, and then this year also with the African Network of Women in Astronomy. And the idea with the first initiative is really not only to bring the science to the girls, but also to their teachers, but also to understand what are the main factors that we have the lack of the girls in STEM fields. And then regarding the second initiative is really to improve the situation, the participation of women in astronomy and space science in the future. And this is just, I think I will stop in 1 minute. I just wanted to mention some of the research that we are doing under the extragalactic group. but I think I will not have time. This is the picture from the northeast of Ethiopia. And beside its beauty and promoting a bit the country, it's also important for astronomy, because this is one of the Danakil is one of the hottest places that we have on our planet, and it's also one of the most acid places that we have on the planet. And in many aspects, it's one of the places that has been considered to maybe have similar conditions like, for example, in Mars and some of other planets. And now we have really several projects, international projects, that are using Danakil as a source of understanding the origin of life and doing the research in astrobiology. This is the list of the projects that we are currently running under the Extragalactic Group in collaboration with Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania, South Africa in Africa, and then abroad with Spain, Italy, Chile, and then Germany as well. So these are some of our master PhD students, and most of the study is focused on the research of AGN, so the nuclear activity in galaxies. And through this, it's not only that we can contribute to the generation of the knowledge and the science development, but also to the human capacity building that is extremely important, and educational development, and also to give, to the institutional development, support of the technological developments that Ethiopia is running, and so on. This is to remind you that in 2024, we will be having the very first IAU General Assembly in Africa. And I will finish the talk with this picture that is from the June this year, when my colleagues from the Institute managed, through the astronomy and solar eclipse, to bring the science to some of the most remote areas on the north of Ethiopia. So thank you very much for your attention, and also for the extension. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your very inspiring talk. Question, please.
Thank you, Miriam. Thank you very much, and congratulations, really.
Thank you, Professor.
Miriam, hi, this is Anna. Okay, I'll turn on my camera so that you can see me. I don't see you anymore, but, okay, there you are. Okay, I just had to say, of course, I don't have any question. It wasn't the topic for questions, but this is totally mind-blowing. And I mean, it's great, all that you do, really. I'm following your work. I wasn't expecting this much. I was expecting some great things, but this is totally, mind-blowing. That's all. Thank you for doing all that.
All of this would not be possible without all of we really have so many people working, and so many people who in one way or another contributed to all the developments that we can observe nowadays. So I'm just one of so many people. So it's I'm trying to contribute as much as I can, but all of this would not be possible without our really African colleagues. So,
of course, but you take the lead, I'm sure, and it's normal. Thank you again for doing so much.
Thank you, Anna.
Bye.
Thank you very much, Mirjana, for this very, very
sorry, can I have a question?
Talk.
One question. We have one question in audience.
Yes.
Yes, sorry. We don't know each other. I work here in Belgrade. Could you just tell, like, really shortly, how did you decide to go to Africa?
Actually, Africa was really basically all my life my passion. Somehow I was always so much attracted on one side with the amazing beauty that Africa has in its regarding its diversity, human diversity, natural diversity, amazing heritage, but also I was very much affected with all the, I would say, injustice that the continent faced over all the past centuries, starting with the slavery, with the colonization, and with the colonization that we are still living, in different aspects. maybe not territorial, but economical, definitely. And so I think, I mean, for me, Africa is really like another universe, no, where it's another open book without end, where we can really learn a lot. And I think that we don't have another world. We just have this planet currently where we are living. And I think how this world currently is, with these huge differences that we have between the developed countries and then countries that are under the development. And when you look the African continent regarding the rest of the world, we all know that there are so many differences in terms of the access to the basic needs. And I think that I truly believe that through education and science, we can help in decreasing these differences in future. And that's how, that's something that I always really wanted to do. So I'm really grateful to my colleagues in Ethiopia and then in Africa in general, know that we can, that I'm forming a part of this community where with the same vision that really through science we can change the things in the future, no? And the community is increasing, and I think that I'm really optimistic that in future we can through science really bring a lot of good, and through astronomy as well. But it's
Thank
been
you
a
so
long
much.
way.
So
It's been a
inspirational.
long way. So thank you, Monica.
I would like, may I ask a question, please?
Yes.
I would like to ask Mirjana, do you speak with them? Okay, it's not so much related to astronomy, but how do you communicate with the children? Do you speak with them in English, or did you learn their language maybe?
So in Ethiopia in general, you can use English. The English is like official language at the universities, because we have more than 100 ethnic groups and more than 80 languages. So at the level of the university, because people are coming from different ethnic groups, then English has been considered to be like the language to be used. But when you go, so at the university, you can just communicate in English, and there is no normally problem, although we do see the difficulties really when teaching in English, that the level of education will be affected, no? But when you go to the schools, then it's becoming a problem to use English. So I do speak Amharic. My Amharic is not actually very good, and I'm quite limited. Amharic is really very, it's not an easy language, but I managed to learn a bit of Amharic, at least for the basic communication. So then with my basic Amharic, and then with the help of my colleagues, and then combining Amharic with a bit of English, so we normally manage to communicate.
Sorry, but can you say, how do you say sun in this language?
Zahai.
Okay. Well, thank
I
you.
just want to say to Mira that you are really inspiration for us all, Mira. Thank you very much.
I totally agree with you, Jelena. We would need you here in Serbia. We were just discussing now that we are losing the enthusiasm for studying, not losing the enthusiasm, but we are losing the possibility to teach astronomy in schools. And now we hear this you talk, and really we have to learn from you, all of us.
Mira, organizers didn't ask anything lecturers during this conference, but this will be legacy in the franchise of the Serbian Astronomical Conferences, and we would like to ask you that can you, as Natasha said something about the teaching and lecturing astronomy in Serbia, would you be able just to concentrate some short message to all astronomers and in Serbia, and specifically related to education of astronomy in Serbia? Something, just, some advice or something what would be, from your experience, nice for us to hear.
Yes, so I think one of the Sorry?
You are able to speak. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I think one of the fundamental things is really working with teachers, and I think that's I mean, this kind of idea and thought, I think it's there in Serbia. No, from my experience, I think really teachers are, of course, working with. I mean, it's important working on all levels. You know, like with children directly, with teachers, with the general public. But I think regarding the education, working with teachers directly, reaching teachers is extremely important, because then through the teachers we can reach many more children, and we know how much it's important when we have teachers that are motivated for motivating actually children to do science. And also one important aspect, extremely important, is reaching the decision makers. I think without really support of the decision makers, everything becomes more difficult, even that we are losing the fundamental sciences in our schools, as we could here know that even some of the classes have been decreased, the difficulties that we had, like maintaining the philosophy or logic in the schools and so on. And I think maybe in Serbia, it is still needed to work more with the decision makers in terms of really showing, convincing them how much astronomy and space science is really a future. I mean, as I mentioned in some point, currently our daily life is related with satellite data. In future, it will be even more. It's all huge field of, even not so much astronomy, but like satellite technologies and so on. It's a huge field of economical development that is coming in the next decade. So I think in that aspect, that could be also for promoting astronomy in schools. And you cannot speak about space science without astronomy as well. So maybe for the schools, for bringing astronomy again as a subject and then involving more teachers and so on, that can be also one of the arguments, no? And I think really coming to the decision makers is very important. So maybe even now, the science fund that has been established in Serbia in 2019, no, last year, if you can also reach the science fund and then try to discuss these kind of arguments and have their support, that could be also maybe one of the ways to approach the governments, no? But definitely it's one of the fundamental parts, no, to get the support from the ministry, from decision makers, from the science fund as well, and then try to bring really more science to the schools, again, through the teachers and the whole community.
Can I comment as well? Hi, Mira, this is Dragana speaking.
Yes, you're welcome, Dragana.
Hi, I'm just going to turn on my video for a short. I just want to say hi to Mira because I really want her to see us as well. So we are here. I'm sorry I joined a bit late your talk, but I am in time for some discussion. I just wanted to say thank you very much for all these words, and we are doing all this stuff. The point is that it is really a small group of people in Serbia, and Olga is probably going to address this in the next in her talk that we are trying to do all this stuff, and the point is that not the majority of the astronomical community in Serbia is really interested in education on all levels. So it is really only individuals who are doing the efforts. So some individuals from the observatory, some individuals from the Department of Astronomy, and also some individuals from other institutes like Tijana Prodanovic in Novi Sad is doing a lot of initiatives for education of astronomy on all levels, starting from the kindergarten. She had some project on for this as well. So I totally agree with you that we have to attack all levels. So both the decision makers and both the education of teachers. And I'm not going to say a lot about this because Olga is going to say in her talk, so maybe we can continue the discussion later on. Somehow we are just always bumping into the wall when we go into the decision makers. They just don't want to listen to us, and maybe we are not even we mentioned the space science, we mentioned for example, we have now, there is the agreement about the space development in Serbia signed between China and Serbia, but they just don't want to talk with us. It is, but you know how politics is. I mean, I know, and what Natasha Todorovic says, that we are losing the motivation and inspiration, and your talk is always giving us the strength. And this is what happened to me when I visited you at Ethiopia. It gave me a lot of strength to fight for all this stuff, because we need to do this. I don't know. I mean, it's very difficult, but I just wanted to comment that people in Serbia are trying to do this, but it's just somehow it's really difficult. So maybe after Olga's talk, we can comment on this more. So thank you.
No, I'm aware of. I'm possibly not aware of all the things that you are doing. Unfortunately, I would be happy to hear more. But also, I mean, all the, maybe now putting everything in the talk, you know, it looks that the things are easy. I mean, here in Ethiopia, we are facing so many challenges.
I know.
Every single thing that you want to do, it's a challenge. So to come up, I mean, there are many results that have been done over the past years because of amazing work that, I mean, that we had to go through, no? And because of motivation, you know, but I mean, the challenges here are so big that you really have to be motivated, you know, and like try to push and have clear the goals and objectives, and it will come, you know. I mean, if there is a lot of efforts and work, it will come on the longer term, not on the short term, you know how in science and education
but it's not it is a group of people, so it is not only you. I mean, you have some people which are, how to say, you know,
yes, we agree,
have power.
Dragana, yes, we agree. We can continue maybe
sorry
enough time after this session during lunch break to discuss. And we would like the organizers to thank Mira for these really important inputs. And we can see that Africa is actually not stepping into the future of astronomy, but I think leaping into it. And perhaps we will see more of it. Mira, thank you once again a lot on behalf of the organizers. And now we would like to invite Professor Milan Dimitrijevic to take over the conference and continue this session.
Thank you, Angelika. Thank you, Mirjana. The next lecture is Astronomy Education in Serbia, 2017-2020. The lecturer is Olga Atanaskovic. Please.
I had to unmute myself. Sorry. Is it okay? Do you hear me? And you see the presentation?
Yes.
Oh, okay, thank you. So Bojan and I will present you the traditional triennial report on astronomy education in Serbia. And as you will see, we have some good, but unfortunately, some bad news as well for you. But let us start with the good ones. First of all, I would like to remind you that the Republic of Serbia is the member of the International Astronomical Union since 1935, and that it has 60 members, 49 individual members and 11 junior members. And as you probably know, the IAU Commission C1 on Astronomy Education and Development till this year had 3 offices: Office for Young Astronomers, Office for Astronomy Development, and for Astronomy Outreach. And recently, namely in January this year, Office of Astronomy for Education was founded. In fact, the IAU stimulates the use of astronomy for teaching and education at school level, and one of the objectives of the Office of Astronomy for Education is to establish a network of National Astronomy Education Coordinators, NAECs. And so far, in past 9 months, 251 individual NAECs from 80 countries have been confirmed. And the National Committee of Astronomy of Serbia nominated NAEC team for Serbia. And the members are me as a chair, Dragan Ilić as contact person, Jelena Kovačević-Dojčinović, and Bojan Arbutina. In fact, we are also the members of the Commission for Education of the Society of Astronomy of Serbia. And in fact, we would be happy if also some secondary school teachers enter our NAEC team. Last week, during the IAU workshop on astronomy education, it was held last week from 6 to 9 October, a document, Big Ideas in Astronomy, was offered. It is not a curriculum document, but more guide or a framework on, as I told previously, what should a citizen of planet Earth know about astronomy. In fact, the message is that everyone should be astronomically literate. And I liked the motto Mirjana mentioned: we explore the universe for the benefit of our people. Astronomy is attractive to all ages and really deserves to be a subject at schools, because the cosmic perspective it gives is one of the most important contributions of astronomy to humanity. And because we are all a family under one sky, let's say, this really could help to make the world a better place. And this framework should be further developed with the help of IAC teams. And all of the material created, textbook, glossary, diagrams, images, so all Astro Edu education, yes, database will be available under the license that allows it to be used universally in teaching. Let's go back to our main topic, astronomy education in Serbia. So now we turn to some bad news concerning primary and secondary school education, but we shall talk also about university education and public outreach. First of all, let's say, or let us remind that astronomy topics are taught as part of the courses of natural history at 4th grade and geography at 5th grade. And you have here the curriculum of the subject geography in primary schools. In geography, the pupils learn about Milky Way, stars, sun and solar system, Earth's rotation, revolution, and the consequences, the moon, lunar phases, Earth's atmosphere, and climate changes. But having in mind the importance of astronomy education at early age, and because astronomy inspires curiosity, and let's say that curiosity is the driver for innovation. 5 years ago, the Department of Astronomy has undertaken the first activities in the introduction of astronomy as a separate elective course in the elementary schools. However, within the recent reform, there is no more elective courses in primary schools. Additional topics are to be taught in astronomy clubs organized by the enthusiastic teachers of physics, mathematics, or geography. So this is the first bad news. The second one, even worse, is that the number of hours of astronomy within physics has been drastically reduced. Let us remind that for 25 years, astronomy was a separate 1 hour per week course in the 4th year of secondary schools. And then in 1990, astronomy topics are incorporated in physics with 32 hours per year. and only 7 special schools in Serbia have astronomy as a separate course. And many attempts to reintroduce astronomy as a separate and compulsory course in all grammar schools remained without success. Why is it important? I said already in the previous discussion that the teacher of physics, in fact, if they run out of time, they often skip the astronomical contents totally. And astronomy is not as easy to return to school curricular as, for example, Desanka Maksimovich's poetry. For that to be possible, we need to educate people much more in the field of astronomy. And so the bad news is, as I already told, that as the consequence of the reduction of hours of physics from 5 hours per week to 3+1 hours per week, the number of hours of astronomy within physics has been drastically reduced. So we will have only 8 hours per year. 8 hours of astronomy per year. And this is the program of physics, in the 4th grade of secondary schools. This is the content of physics, and in red, the content of astronomy topics. These are astronomy topics. I haven't translated it in English, but you can see topics and the number of hours and the total number of hours, because this is for laboratory exercises. So we have 6 hours of lectures and 2 laboratory hours for laboratory exercises, in total 8 out of 132 in physics. Okay, brighter side of this is that astronomical community has been trying to compensate the lack of astronomical contents in school by means of 2 very important extracurricular activities. The first one is the activity of the Department of Astronomy in Petnica Science Center, which is founded almost 40 years ago, and which is the biggest and the oldest center for extracurricular education in Southeastern Europe. I will not talk much about it because Stanislav already told us about the seminars, astronomy seminars, 7 astronomy seminars per year, and all the activities mainly of secondary school students that attend these seminars. So main concept of Petnica Science Center is learning through research. Also, one of the important activity are the summer schools for students, Petnica Summer Institute, on different topics, on cosmology, high energy physics, and astrophysics. And the second important extracurricular activity is the participation of our team at the International Astronomy Olympiads. Professor Jelena Milogradov-Turin initiated, so almost 20 years ago, the participation of Serbian team. And now Serbian teams have, so far, Serbian teams have participated at the International Astronomy Olympiad, which is founded in Russia, International Olympiad on Astronomy and Astrophysics, in the St. Petersburg Astronomical Olympiad, which is of a correspondence type competition. And this year, it was an online astronomy and astrophysics competition, which was held instead of the canceled International Olympiad of Astronomy and Astrophysics. So far, I don't know the exact number. I hope that Sonia will mention it in her talk. But more than 60 medals, it is 60 And 60 medals and 50 recognitions was the number of medals and recognitions 3 years ago. So I don't have the exact numbers in the past. And main coordinators and leaders of Serbian teams in the past several years are Dr. Sonja Vidojević and Professor Slobodan Ninković. Sonja Vidojević translated also these are homeworks or exercises in astronomy and astrophysics from Russian to Serbian. Regarding university education in astronomy in Serbia, we can say that it exists since 1884, and astronomy courses are taught at 5 state universities in Belgrade, Novi Sad, Niš, Kragujevac, and Pristina. And Kosovska Mitrovica. This is University of Pristina, which is in Kosovska Mitrovica. And the Department of Astronomy at the University of Belgrade is the only one department of astronomy in which students can major in astronomy and astrophysics from the first study year. They got the diploma of astronomer or astrophysicist. And so far, 307 students have graduated from the Faculty of Mathematics, Department of Astronomy. 69 students received Master Science degree. 61 students received PhD degree. The first defense, PhD defense was in 58. It was Professor Zakarije Brkić, whose award two students in the past 3 years got his received his award. In 2006, new European credit transfer system was introduced, and of a model 4+1, and since that year, since 2007, 45 students received master degree. And only in the past 3 years, students graduated, 9 students received master degree, and 5 students received PhD degree, which is much fewer than in the previous period. On the right, you can see the structure of our study program of astronomy and astrophysics. At undergraduate level, we have 2 modules, astrophysics and astroinformatics. On the master level, also 2 modules, and one at PhD studies. It is astronomy and astrophysics with more than 30 elective courses. Courses of astronomy, apart from the Department of Astronomy, where the student can major in astronomy and astrophysics from the first study year, courses of astronomy at the University of Belgrade are also taught at the Faculty of Mathematics for the students of mathematics and informatics. And here you see C is compulsory in red. This is the compulsory course, and these are elective courses. And at the Faculty of Physics for the students of physics, also we have compulsory and elective courses. And also at the Faculty of Civil Engineering for students of geodesy, we have a compulsory course. At the University of Belgrade, in 2011, Astromundus, a 2-year European Erasmus Mundus joint program started, and it formally ended in January of this year. And since 2010, 8 generations of students, out of which 40 students enrolled semester, 3rd or 4th semester of the master program at the Faculty of Mathematics. And 8 students defended the master thesis in Belgrade. We have also some tradition of giving the seminars on different topics in astronomy on every 2nd Tuesday throughout the academic year. and there were 33 in the past 3 years. Also, seminars are also held at the Astronomical Observatory in Belgrade, and there were also 33 in the past 3 years. We have 2 new textbooks by Bojan Arbutin on evolution of supernova remnants, and by Mihailo Martinovic and Stevo Shegan on selected topics in astronomy. The Department of Astronomy, together with the Department of Physics in Novi Sad, have been organized since 2007 astronomy students workshops, which gave the opportunity to the students to present their work. And in the past 3 years, there were 2 astronomy student workshops in 2017 and 19. We have also student practices and observations at the astronomical station Vidovica. Students are trained to use 60 centimeters reflector Nedeljković and 1.4 meter telescope Milanković. And in the past 3 years, 3 summer practices have been organized, and the last one this year in May, it was organized completely virtually. And these practices were organized always by Professor Dragana Ilić and Professor Tijana Prodanović. During the past 3 years, student practiced also at the Yonžejo Observatory, and these are the names of the students that were attended the practices that lasted 2 or 3 weeks during the summer at the Yonžejo Observatory. And the first student practice in Rožen was this year, at the beginning of this year, within the project SuperAst, Supercomputing Astronomy, which is led by Anđelka Kovačević. And here you see coordinators, our colleague Nikola Petrov, Bojan Arbutin, Dragan Ilić, Dejan Urošević, Stanislav Milošević, and our students, women students, all 5, Sara Savić, Nikolina Milanović, Jana Marković, Isidora Jankov, and Teodora Žižak. In the University of Novi Sad, founded the astronomy study group in 2002 with this model, 3+1+1. And
2 minutes, please.
how much? 2 minutes. Okay. And in 2008, the structure was changed in 4+1. And in the past 3 years, we can say several words. First of all, that in the school year 2018-19, new accredited studies started. In fact, there is no more undergraduate studies in astronomy, but in physics with 11 elective courses in astronomy and astrophysics. They have master studies in astrophysics, which are focused on high energy astrophysics. But the potential future astronomers can be noticed according to their choice of the elective astronomy courses. For example, I got the data from Tijana Prodanović. This year, 12 students which enrolled the undergraduate studies in physics chose fundamentals of the solar system. So they are potential future astronomers. They have 2 students of the second year that chose general astronomy. So they already had, they will have 2 subjects on astronomy, and 1 student of the third year which chose general astrophysics. At the universities of Niš, and Kosovska Mitrovica, there are no big changes. There will be starting, for example, in the University of Niš, there will be starting from the next year. that's more or less the same as it was 3 years ago, so no changes, no big changes. And finally, this is the last slide. Let's say that public outreach is organized through mainly through the lectures, which are held at Ilija Kolarac Foundation or Belgrade Youth Center, Students Cultural Center, at Serbian Academy of Sciences and Arts, in 2 planetaria in Belgrade and Novi Sad, during the special events, on radio programs, through the articles written in popular journals and books, and various and numerous activities of 24 amateur astronomical societies. And a really important collaboration, which is among amateur societies, of Zlatenka Camp, which is organized every year and with about 200 participants. This is a national and international camp. And you see the journals, our journals, Basiona, which is founded in 52, Internet Astronomical Magazine, which is the largest internet magazine for astronomy in Serbia. Astronomia ceased to exist, and Young Physicist magazine for elementary and secondary school pupils. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Olga, for this interesting lecture. Question, please.
Can I have some comments and questions?
Yes.
Okay, I'll turn on my camera. So, for example, I wanted to say that maybe one of the alternatives for putting astronomy back to high schools is to think maybe that, okay, we don't have a separate class, but maybe we can put the astronomical things connected to physics into physics. Like if you are talking about gravity, that you specifically talk about tasks related to physics and gravitation, but in an astronomical context. That's an option. I have looked into it when I was doing my master thesis for being a physics teacher. Maybe that's an avenue that we could look into. So another problem I have is that even if you would have like a class separately for astronomy, the problem is how are we going to train our teachers in high schools, right? So you need people, you need programs for people to do things that you want them to do in high schools. If you want a separate class, you need someone to tell those high school teachers what they should teach, because as far as I know, there is no like an astronomy thing in university when they are learning to become physics teachers, as far as I know. So that's another question. And also I would like to mention that we as the Astronomical Society of Serbia have also a portable planetarium, which is actually going to high schools and other events. And that has become quite a useful thing to disseminate knowledge about astronomy in high schools and in general public. So maybe we should promote it more, because it looks like people like it. And also there are amateur astronomer societies that have done amazing things in the past few years. So we should also mention them. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. First of all, as an answer to your first question, yes, we are thinking about it, but my experience, and I chatted a bit with Natasha Todorovic. We decided to enroll astronomy at the Faculty of Natural Sciences and Mathematics because we had it as a separate subject. It I don't know. I think that it is very important. Really, astronomy. I think that it deserves such a place in the education, even primary and secondary also. And who will teach? You asked. Your second question was who will be teachers who will teach astronomy. So I think that this will not be the problem, because teachers of physics, of geography and mathematics could teach astronomy. They all have as one semester or two one-semester courses of astronomy during their studies. So also we intend to organize seminars, astronomy seminars for the teachers who would teach astronomy either within their specific subjects or astronomy as a separate subject. And your third it was more comment, I think, not a question. Yes, I forgot to mention portable planetarium. Yes, it is very important.
Thank you very much, Olga. The next lecture is by Bojana Arbutina, Olga Atanackovic, and Angelka Kovacevic, Department of Astronomy at the Faculty of Mathematics of University of Belgrade in the period 1999-2020. Please.
Okay, thank you, Milan. I hope that you can hear me and can see my presentation. Okay, so as you can see from the title, I will give a brief review of activities of the Department of Astronomy in the last 20 years or so. So why these years? Well, these years are strangely connected because in the second semester of the school year 1998-1999, the teaching activity stopped until June due to the NATO bombing of Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. And in the second semester of this school year, the classes stopped and then continued online due to the outbreak of coronavirus pandemic. But more seriously, there are reviews of previous period. There are actually three papers covering the activities of the Department or Institute of Astronomy, which was the name at some period, at the University of Belgrade until 1998. And also last year at the 10th Conference Development of Astronomy among Serbs, Olga, Angelka and myself had a lecture and covered in much more detail chronologically this period from 1999 to 2018, but in Serbian. As you saw in the previous lecture, Olga also covered the general activities, astronomical activities in Serbia in her triennial reviews. So there will be a slight overlap with the previous talk. And in a sense, this is also a sequel to a lecture or paper by Professor Jelena Milogradov-Turin, published in 2003, that covered also history of teaching of astronomy at the University of Belgrade from the beginnings until 2002 in English. So I will start with the school year 1998-1999. You can see the teaching staff. And here also in a photo taken in the 1999, I think, many of the professors are now retired. Professor Jelena Turin in the front sadly passed away. And here you can see the total number of graduate and postgraduate students so far. So we have 307 graduated students so far. In the figure below, you can see the distribution of men and women students and all students until 2015, published in a paper by Arbutin and Atanackovic. So as far as undergraduates are concerned, we have more or less the equal number of men and women students. But when you go to a PhD level, that you can see here, so we have more men. The situation is similar in the rest of the world, although in the countries of the former Eastern Bloc, the situation is better than in the West. We had several redefinitions and accreditation of study programs during these past 20 years. First, in 2006 to 2007, we introduced studies according to the Bologna Convention. Then we have a couple of accreditations, and at the bottom you can see the current situation. So we have two modules, the so-called modules at the undergraduate level, astroinformatics and astrophysics. The same applies to the master level, and at the PhD level we have one module. So we have joint astronomy and astroinformatics and astrophysics into a single program at PhD level. There is tradition of awarding the Professor Dr. Zachary Brkic Award to the best undergraduate student each year. If certain conditions are met. The last student that was awarded was Andrija Kostic in 2018. And in total, there are 33 students that got this award. From 2007, we organized student astronomy workshops. Olga mentioned that. The workshops are meant as meetings of astronomy students from University of Belgrade and University of Novi Sad. We also have student training at Vidovica from 2012, and a student summer internship in the Czech Republic from 2007. And as Olga said, this year we had this training at Rosen Observatory also. Staff members of the Department of Astronomy are very active in promotion and popularization of astronomy through public lectures, lectures at Petnica Science Centers and different seminars. Also, the staff participated in numerous national and international conferences. The seminars of the Department of Astronomy are held every second Tuesday, if possible. From year 2000, the initiator and the first coordinator was Dan Volshevich, and we had so far 249 seminars. The last was in March 2020, when we had to stop due to the coronavirus outbreak. The staff members also participated in many projects, basically in all projects funded by the Serbian Ministry of Education and Science. In the 2011-2019 period, but also in 2006, 2010, and 2002 and 2005 research project periods. In the last project period, we had a project that was primarily based at the Faculty of Mathematics. This is emission, nebula, and structure and evolution, for which the PI was Dan Rošović. And there are also some international projects like Stardust, also Project Pavle Savic, and the project of inter-academies cooperation between Serbian Academy and Bulgarian Academy of Science that had 3 cycles so far. Olga also mentioned the Astromundus program, which was the Erasmus Mundus master program in astrophysics that in which University of Belgrade participated together with 4 more universities, University of Innsbruck, Göttingen, Padua, and Rome. And it offered an opportunity for students from all over the world to live and study in Belgrade, at least for 1 semester. The department, together with Astronomical Observatory, published Serbian Astronomical Journal. In 2003, Dejan Rošović became editor and Nikola Vitas assistant editor, and Zoran Krežević, as the director of the Astronomical Observatory of Belgrade, became editor-in-chief. Currently, Dejan Rošović is editor-in-chief, and I am editor. Assistant editor is Milena Jovanović. In 2013, Serbian Astronomical Journal was internationally recognized by appearing in the so-called Sci list, or Journal Citation Report. This year, or for the previous year, it's at position 64 out of 68 journals with impact factor 0.565. In the summer of 2018, Serbia also became a member of the board of directors of the Astronomy and Astrophysics Journal. Our representative there is Anđelka Kovačević, and according to the agreement, astronomers with the affiliation from Serbia can publish in the Astronomy and Astrophysics free of charge. Staff members had different duties during these past 20 years or so. I will not read this all. So we had presidents of the Society of Astronomers Serbia, also of the National Committee of Astronomy. We organized, together with Astronomical Observatory of Belgrade, national conferences every 3 years. There were also summer schools organized in 2007, 2008, and 2010, and many exhibitions, out of which I enlisted here 3 that happened in 2009 and 2019. The 2009 was the International Year of Astronomy. And in 2019, we celebrated 100 years since the establishment of the International Astronomical Union. So I tried to list here all the people that came to the department and those that at some point left the department, as well as our deceased professors. Unfortunately, in June this year, Professor Ilija Lukačević from the Department of Mechanics passed away. And at the beginning of October, also our dear Professor Mirina Vukičić-Karabin passed away. So in school year 2020-2021, the teaching staff was this. In total, 13 members. But we also have additional research staff that is not involved in teaching, and you can see here. This is the picture taken on September 13, 2019. So from left to right, you can see Dragana, Alexandra, who left to the States, Dusan, who left to Germany, Stanislav, Anđelka, Olga, Vladimir Đošević, Vladimir Zeković, Dejan, and then Victor, Dusan Marčeta, Dusan Onić, Bojan Novaković, and myself. So this will be all. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Bojan. Are there any questions? If there is no questions, thank you again, Bojan. The next lecture is again Bojan Arbutina, the first Yugoslav National Committee for Astronomy. Please.
Okay, thank you, Milan. I intended here to give a sort of a shortened version of the lecture that I gave last year in the meeting that we had in the Serbian Academy of Sciences and of Arts and Sciences that was dedicated to the 100 years of since the establishment of the International Astronomical Union. So this story begins in the World War I aftermath, when there were the so-called inter-allied conferences on international scientific organizations. The Allied powers, the World War I winners, at that time decided to stop collaboration in
double click to enter full screen mode. I can't see your presentation. I don't know if...
I don't see the presentation as well, Bojan.
Well, I'm not sure what happens.
It's pending now. Just start again. Thank you.
Okay, I will start again. Can you see it now?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so the Allied powers decided to stop collaboration with the Germany and primarily and other forces that lost the war and decided to establish new scientific organizations. So in this third inter-allied conference in Brussels in 2019, the International Research Council was established, which lasts until these days, although it's changed name into International Council of Scientific Unions, then International Council for Science. And in 2018, the natural sciences merged with social sciences, and the International Science Council was formed. At the same time, in 2019, the International Astronomical Union was established together with some other unions, like the Union of Geodesy and Geophysics, International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry, and so on. At this International Research Council, there were about 200 members or more. Of course, most of them from Belgium, but Serbia also had two representatives. Our representatives was academicians Mihailo Petrovic and Jovan Cvijic. The first was mathematician and the second one geographer. Okay, I have a problem now because I cannot change slides. Okay, so although Serbia was the founding member of the International Research Council, it did not actually participate in the foundation of International Astronomical Union, and the probable reason for this is that our two representatives were a mathematician and a geographer, so we did not have astronomer there present. So Serbia joined the International Astronomical Union only in 1935. Before that, actually, we had a representative from Serbia. As far as I know, the first Serbian representative or Yugoslav representative was Professor Vojislav Mišković, which was accepted by the letter from the General Secretary Stratton to the University of Belgrade Rector's Office in 1933 and became a member of the Commission 24 Minor Planets. Vojislav Mišković was also our representative at the General Assembly in Paris in 1935 when the Kingdom of Yugoslavia was officially accepted as the member of the IAU. And according to the IAU transactions B from Paris General Assembly, the Vojislav Mišković was the only Yugoslav member. But shortly after his return, the National Committee for Astronomy was established with members from Serbian Royal Academy, Milutin Milanković, Vojislav Mišković, then from Yugoslav Academy of Sciences and Arts in Zagreb, Željko Marković and Stjepan Škreb, the University of Belgrade, Vyacheslav Žardecki, University of Zagreb, Vladimir Vrkljan, and University of Ljubljana, Josip Plemelj. In the period December 17 to 22, 1935, 3 meetings were held in which the statute was written and submitted to academies to be formally accepted. And the president, vice president, and secretary were elected, and this established the National Committee for Astronomy with 4-year term for the period 1936-1939. So I will not read these short biographies of all the National Committee for Astronomy members. I will just say a few words about each of them. So Stjepan Škreb was the professor at the University of Zagreb. He was also member of the Yugoslav Academy of Sciences and Arts, and the director of the Geophysical Institute there. He worked mainly in meteorology, climatology, and geophysics, but did have some works in astronomy also. Željko Marković was also professor at the University of Zagreb. He primarily worked in mathematics, dealt with differential equations, but he was interested in astronomy, did some work on the three-body problem, and especially was interested in the works of Ruđer Bošković. Vladimir Vrkljan was the professor at the University of Zagreb and the corresponding member of the Yugoslav Academy of Sciences and Arts. He was a physicist working mainly in quantum theory and theory of relativity. He's considered to be the first Croatian physicist who intensively dealt with quantum mechanics. Josip Plemelj was a Slovenian mathematician. Basically, although during his university studies, he had some courses in mathematics, physics, and astronomy. He was later the professor at the University of Ljubljana, the corresponding member of Serbian Royal Academy and the Yugoslav Academy of Sciences and Arts, and the member of the Slovenian Academy of Sciences and Arts since its establishment in 1939. He was the first rector of the University of Ljubljana. Vyacheslav Žardecki was a Ukrainian-born astronomer. Although he worked in many fields, he came to Belgrade in 1920. For a short time, he worked as Astronomical Observatory Belgrade and then moved to the University of Belgrade, where he became professor. During the Second World War, he left Yugoslavia. For a short time, he was in Austria, where he taught at the University of Graz, and then he moved to the States and became researcher at the Lamont Geological Observatory of the Columbia University in New York. He worked in astronomy, but mainly in hydrodynamics, rational mechanics, also in geophysics. He wrote 2 university textbooks and 3 monographs, and his sonology in 1992 established the Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory lectureship that bears his father's name. So according to the IAU Transactions B from Stockholm 1938 General Assembly, Yugoslavia had 6 members, and the National Committee for Astronomy is listed there, but not with members that I just mentioned. So 2 members are missing, Marković and Plemelj, but there is additional member Terzić. Terzić was an army general. He, after the First World War, he became the head of the astronomical and geodetic department of the traffic section of the army headquarters and a lecturer at the Lower School of Military Academy. later in the period 1937-1938, as a geodetic general, he was the head of the Military Geographical Institute. Of course, I did not say anything about probably the two most well-known members of the National Committee for Astronomy, that is Vojislav Mišković and Milutin Milanković. Many has been said in the national conferences about these two great Serbian astronomers. The Mišković was the professor at the University of Belgrade, the director of the Astronomical Observatory in Belgrade, and also a member of the Serbian Royal Academy and later Serbian Academy of Arts and Sciences. And Milutin Milanković is probably the most well-known Serbian scientist. Also the professor at the University of Belgrade and the member of the Serbian Academy of Sciences and Arts. He's most famous by his astronomical theory of climate and explanation of ice ages. When we look at the transaction, IAU transactions B from Zurich 1948 General Assembly, we see that only these two Yugoslav members are listed, Milutin Milanković and Vojislav Mišković. So it is not clear what happened to the National Committee for Astronomy during the Second World War, but we can assume that the first National Committee after the Second World War consisted only of the two of them. And only afterwards, the new astronomers graduated from the Department of Astronomy, University of Belgrade. The first one was Slobodanka Dimitrijević in 1938, and the first doctorate was obtained by Zaharije Brkić in 1950. Slobodanka Dimitrijević in 1936, and the first doctorate was awarded to Zaharije Brkić in 1958. And afterwards, the National Committee for Astronomy was formed from let's say, our own students. And then we can see more familiar names listed in the IAU transactions B in this post-World War II period until nowadays. So this will be all. Thank you for attention.
Thank you very much, Bojan. Now the lecture is open for the questions. Are there any questions? I don't see any question. Well, do you know maybe when we have first data about National Committee after World War II?
After World War II, that will be at the next General Assembly, but I'm not sure where it was right now. But I think I saw in the IAU transactions B that since they are held every 3 years, right? Then probably from 1951, but I'm not sure.
Thank you very much, Bojan. The next lecture is by Sonja Vidujević. Is she present here?
Organizers cannot see Sonja among the panelists. We can move to the next lecture by Zoran Tomić.
Zoran Tomić.
Later we can...
Slobodan Ninković, which is the quarter, is here. I don't know if he will present.
Thank you.
Well,
Professor Slobodan Ninković, would you like to present something about the work with Sonja Vidujević?
Unfortunately, do you hear me?
Yes.
Unfortunately, I have not been in contact with her, so I don't know now what to do. I know something, but she has prepared this very safe.
Okay, thank you. If Sonia appears until the end of this session, we can include it also if she appears during the poster session.
Try to
So, thank you. So anyhow, we can continue. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Angelka. Next speaker is Zoran Tomic, and the title is Activities of the Astronomical Society Eureka in the period 2017 up to 2020. Zoran, please.
Thank you. Okay. So do you see
yes
presentation?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Zoran Tomic from Kruševac, one of the founders of Astronomical Society Eureka. Currently, I'm a member of National Assembly, so I am going to do a short presentation of activities of Astronomical Society Eureka in Kruševac. Also here present is Milo Stankovic. He is a new president of our society. And he is going to cooperate with all of you in the future period. So in the beginning, short history, society is formed in 2010 in high school Kruševac. So in high school Kruševac, first it was like astronomical section in that school. We are doing promotion of astronomy and also related sciences in Kruševac and also in Serbia. We are one of the fastest growing societies in Serbia and also very active in doing projects of promotion of astronomy. And also, since this year, we started promotion not just on the field, but also on the internet and online projects. And we also have participated in many domestic and international projects. So, and since the March of this year, Miloš Stankovic is president of our society. So in these years, we always organize lectures about astronomy, about popular topics in astronomy and astrophysics. Also, we are organizing observing event from Bagdala Hill and also in other cities in Serbia. So we have a good cooperation with Leskovac, with Ćuprija, Paraćin, and other cities, and also good cooperation with other astronomical societies in Serbia, like Ruđer Bošković, Alpha from Niš. In these 10 years, we done a lot of projects, especially when we talk about promotion of astronomy. And one of the best is Astronomical Camp Jastrebac, which started since 2017. And this year we organized fourth camp, but it wasn't on the mountain. It was online during this pandemic. Also, we started online promotion of astronomy. So currently we are doing a project with Center for Promotion of Science in Belgrade. It is called Online Interesting Astronomy. And we are doing online lectures about astronomy, online conferences, and also online observing events. We started also doing some research, especially when we talk about asteroids. So we are currently participating in International Asteroid Search Campaign, which is held online, and I'm also going to do a short presentation of that. And also in poster session, you can see the results of these activities. Also, we bought a lot of equipment, so we started astrophotography, and we hope in future to build our own observatory in Kruševac. When we talk about Astronomical Camp Jastrebac, it started since 2017, first in the cooperation with Mensa Serbia, after that with City Kruševac. So each year we get funds from City of Kruševac to organize this kind of camp. One of the best was last year when we had the most participants on Jastrebac, and these are pictures that you can see from last year in hotel in Jastrebac. And also when we talk about media, National TV Broadcast Service was with us during this whole camp. This year we are organized online camp because of the pandemic situation. And one of the best results is a book that we call like a little guide for future amateur astronomers, which we want to finish and to publish so that other astronomical enthusiasts can buy it and also learn about amateur astronomy. Also, we are doing online promotion of astronomy. So these are pictures from our Instagram profile, which 2 days ago had 10,000 followers, which is a really great result because this Instagram was developed from our president Miloš Stanković, and in 4 months we gained 10,000 followers because we are promoting some astronomy facts that are presented on the left side of the presentation. And also we are doing to promote interesting astronomy events and also to promote our astronomical society. Also, one of the results of this Instagram campaign was during the International Observing the Moon Night this year, when we organized the campaign. So each of the participants who wanted to photograph moon, he could have sent their photos to us, and we built this huge mosaic of our moon. We had 80 participants from 7 countries. So this is the best mosaic of the moon that we ever built since we are partners on International Observe the Moon Night event since 2010. Online Interesting Astronomy is a new project. We started it during the pandemic in March. So we put a call on Facebook and other social networks, and we had like 200 participants that listened to interesting lectures about astronomy, astrophysics, observing astronomy, and we did it on Skype. So after that, we found out that this is one of the interesting ways how we can support and promote astronomy on the internet. Maybe some of you remember that I always talked about the new concept of doing astronomy from the chair. So this is one of the projects when we talk about astronomy from the chair. And this project is supported by Center for Promotion of Science in Belgrade. So we are going to do it until the September 2021 and hope to continue doing this project in future time. In this project, we bought a new telescope, new CCD camera, and we are organizing lectures and observing events. And we are using our YouTube channel, Eureka Kutak. And so we are, tonight we are organizing some debate where we are going to talk about 10 years experience in promotion of astronomy and how young enthusiasts can do astronomy even though they are not a professional astronomers. This is one project that we are doing, and with this project we are trying to help to establish astronomy and to do more astronomy in primary schools. So we got this project from City of Kruševac. It is called the Formation of Astronomical Sections in Kruševac Primary Schools. All 18 primary schools got their telescopes, microscopes, and binoculars. And also we developed some interesting programs so that professors of physics and also geography in these schools can do with their students each month. So one month they can observe the moon and do some research about the moon. The next month they can try to find some micrometeorites, you know, and other interesting things. So also in this project they got their books, Astronomy for the 4th grade of the gymnasium, and also our little guide for future astronomy amateurs. So on Monday, we are starting to do some lectures to professors how to use their telescopes and how to finish all these activities. And the general idea is to get support from Serbian Astronomical Society and to try to make astronomy more you know, to be a much bigger part in primary schools through sections, maybe not as a regular subject, but as a section. Also, we are participants of International Asteroid Search Campaign. So we are participants since 2010, and since last year we are organizing All Serbia Asteroid Search Campaign, where all astronomy enthusiasts, high school students can participate, and during 1 month they can get their pictures from Pan-STARRS observatories, and using Astrometrica program to discover new asteroids and to send reports to planetary organization. And on the screen, you can see a certificate that each participants get when this campaign is finished. And also on the downside of the presentation, you can see one part of the report of primary asteroids that preliminary research that we did in this project. And since a couple of days ago, we are members of Gender Equality Council of City of Kruševac as a society, and we are going to help to our city to include much more girls and women in science and promotion of science. So we are trying also to help in this part to involve much more females in science and promoting of science. And yeah, this is a really good result for our society because we are just only 10 years old. And this is our main objective, what we want to do. And in each conference we are talking about this, but we are with finish of each conference really much more closer to do this, to finish this cause, to build observatory. We currently know a place in Hill Bagdala where this observatory is going to be built. It is going to be a part of scientific park. We hope that maybe next year we are going to all together with City of Kruševac find funds and to build this observatory. We have equipment that is ready to be put in this observatory and to be used for promotion of science and also astronomy. And we hope maybe in the future to build another observatory outside of the city that we can use for our research that we want to do. These are our contacts, so you're free to contact us, and we are ready to support any good idea and initiative to promote astronomy and to put astronomy on the place that it deserves in our society. And also I hope to, as a member of National Parliament, be also a member of a group that is going to do much more in the education and science. So I am ready to help to finish this cause and to make astronomy in high schools and also primary schools in Serbia, to put it in a place that it really deserves. So thank you very much for listening, and I'm open for questions.
Thank you very much, Zoran. It was really interesting lecture. Now it is open for questions. Are there any questions?
I want to comment. This is Dragan Ilic speaking. Hi, Zoran. Nice to see you. Really, congratulations on these amazing results. I mean, this is also the way an inspirational talk to other people in other city, and also us in professional astronomy, how we can work together and do more for our local communities. I mean, this is really great job. So you let us know how we can help, and we are ready to help. I just want to support your initiative. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dragan. So no problem. My job as a member of National Parliament is to listen also to a scientific community, and together I'm sure that we can solve all these problems which I hear not just on this conference but also on many previous conferences when we talk about astronomy in high schools and also astronomy in our education system. So please contact me, and I am willing to do as much as I can in this position that I am here to help.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? If there is no other question.
Just a moment, please. Just quick comment from the organizers to Zoran Tomic. We are really glad to have you at our conference. And also we are glad if this session and your talk, and this quick communication between you, Professor Dragana, Professor Olga, can yield some more, some deeper collaboration and related to the teaching of astronomy. And this session, actually this virtual session will not be closed. And if you like to stay here and communicate more with some other participants, you are also welcome.